Hello and welcome to another guide. Today we're going to be talking about Raynor P3. Are you tired of being carried? Are you tired of people assuming that you'll be carried? This guide will help you survive and even contribute for the first 10 minutes, so your ally will stop getting on your case. After about 10 minutes, you should have at least 5 BCs and your CD reductions should be kicking in, so the guide will not get into much detail after that. In some cases, you'll be the one carrying. Massing BCs with P3 is not inherently bad. People think that it's bad because most of the allies they've seen do close to nothing for the first 10 minutes, which is arguably the most important part of the game. But with this guide, you'll be able to use your cooldowns effectively. Top bar usage is important because you won't get your first BC until about 6 to 8 minutes. And remember, just because you're playing P3 doesn't mean you can't get Marines and bunkers. In fact, they are really important in holding off early waves. Disclaimer: some of the example videos that I have listed in the description are against easier AI comps. If you have an ally, you should be able to handle or at least contribute to fighting the more difficult AIs. So you can just do what's described in the guide, and if you're fighting a harder comp, hopefully your ally can do something to help you. And it's not that because it's a difficult AI, you auto lose as well. You might need like more SCVs to repair. Anyways, Banshees and Vikings are better against some mutators or against certain enemy comps and on certain maps. However, this guide is strictly for opening BCs because, I'm a BC fan and I think they're great. So I prefer BCs over Vikings and Banshees for many reasons. For Mastery, put 30 points in Hyperion CD unless stated otherwise. For bunkers, you don't have to fill them up because they're a waste of minerals, but you should have at least 2 Marines in them. If you're fighting against a harder comp, you might want to drop more Marines as you're fighting. You can right-click the bunker with your barracks and they'll drop directly into the bunker. Have 2 SCVs for repair, and you might consider pulling more if you think that the enemies are tough. If you're fighting against like Xur because you see creep, consider walling off your bunker using the orbital commands or supply depots or barracks as part of the wall. For bunker at ramp, you can build it when the announcement is made. If you know the timings of the waves on the map, you can build it a bit before so that you can get Marines into the bunkers in time. The general Raynor P3 build order is, you turn your first CC into an OC when you have 14. So 14 SCVs, then build your OC. This way you have optimal saturation while you're getting your OC. Then get another CC when the OC is done. You can put it at the ramp against Zerg or just near the gas if not. Then you get a 15 depot, another CC at the rocks, and then 19 barracks. By the time you have 20 SCVs, your second CC should be done and you turn that into OC. And around like 3 minutes, you'll build a bunker and a few Marines and get your first gas. On the right side, this side, you'll get a starport, another gas, another starport, and another CC, then fusion core at some point. The exact times aren't too important, and I don't think you'll remember it strictly. So just know that you will eventually get these. And you should have about 2 to 3 BCs by around 8 minutes. They cost 600 minerals, 168 gas each.
Here, commanders. We do not have much to... Its activation has begun, but it needs more time to be completed.
So be it. Ready.
Command center upgrade complete.
FTV ready. FTV ready. FTV ready. FTV ready. FTV ready.
You best get ready. Enemies.
Command center upgrade complete.
Got some hostile Terrans out here. Calling down the Banshees.
FTV ready.
Diana's stones near the temple have become unstable.
Command center upgrade complete.
SCV ready.
In Chain of Ascension, you should build a bunker in the center at around like 3:15ish, because the attack wave comes at 3. It's going to be announced at around 3:30. Use Dusk Wings for the first wave. If it's coming from the top, you summon at the top. If it's at the bottom, you summon at the bottom. You can stall with a building, so you can put like barracks on one side and OC on the other side. After you clear the wave, you go clear your expo. Save the Hyperion for the 7-minute wave. That means for the 5-minute wave, you will just use the bunker in the center. If the first wave comes from the top, you can combine the 7-minute wave with the first hybrid spawn, and you can like fight both of them at the same time. If you didn't, then you can use Dusk Wings for the 9-minute hybrid spawn. By 9 minutes, you should have like 1 to 2 BCs as well. For Cradle of Death, you put bunker at the second ramp, the ramp to the second area, because the first wave will go there. If you're not sure where the second wave comes from, you should look up guides on Cradle of Death, because I don't want to go into too much detail in this guide. The Dusk Wings will kill the 4-minute wave, and then you go clear the first area. You summon the Hyperion after 5:20 so that it can finish clearing the first area and then kill the 6-minute wave. If you summon it right at 5 minutes, the 6-minute wave will spawn, but it will not reach your base yet, so you want to summon it a little later. Clear some stuff in the second area with the remaining time. So you just like summon it, you teleport it to an area away from constructs, and you just shoot stuff. Then after that, you put a bunker at the ramp to the third area. So the ramps on both sides should have SCV or 2 to repair, and a bunker with 2, maybe 3, 4 Marines if you want. Dusk Wings will kill the 9-minute wave, and the Hyperion kills the escort wave. You can put your truck near the third area, because that's where if you cleared the first area, then the attack wave will come from the third area, and then you put your truck there, and then your Dusk Wings and Hyperion will just like kill them. Since they come around the same time, if you clear the first area at around 6 minutes, they'll come around the same time. So you can use the Hyperion against the escorts, or the Hyperion against the attack wave, and then Dusk Wings against the escorts. Then you push them into the next area that's closer. For Dead of Night, you do not rush BCs because you will die. It's just a very, very bad idea. That means you have to make bunkers and tanks and orbital commands. In my experience with P3, you only need 3 orbitals to get enough resources. If you have too many orbitals, you're not going to be able to utilize all that money anyways. Then you just mass tanks and bunkers. Your bunkers don't have to be full. They should have something in them, like the sides that get attacked more can have more Marines, but if they're like just part of the wall, they don't all need to be full. Then you have like a ton of tanks until about like 100 supply. Then you start massing BCs and continue dropping tanks. So you don't start making BCs until your wall is completely fortified. You don't need 100 supply if you have an ally to help you with the walling, but basically do not rush BCs. For lock and load, Dusk Wings will kill the first wave at around 4 minutes and the enemies at the center lock. The Hyperion finishes off the center lock if they're not dead already. Then you clear the bottom right lock. The bottom right because mostly there are no cloaked enemies there. So if it's Protoss, there's a carrier. If it's Zerg, then you have Brewlords, Vipers. If it's Terran, then there are battle cruisers. So you clear the bottom right. You can even clear some of the 8-minute waves enemies. So if you didn't know, the enemies will stand still at the waiting area. So in the center right area, you can teleport there and like Yamato them, and then some of them will die. Build a bunker at the center lock towards the top right, but doesn't really matter too much. That's because the 8-minute wave will go to the center, and you can use the Dusk Wings to help clear those enemies and then go to a nearby area. And then at 9 minutes, your Hyperion should be ready, and you summon it and clear enemies in another area. And then by this time, you should have some BCs ready to go. For Mal Warfare, consider using Duskwing's cooldown. So if you know you're playing Mal Warfare or you're doing a mutation that's on Mal Warfare, you probably want the Duskwing's cooldown because there are lots of waves early on. You don't have to though, from my experience. You can, but you don't have to. You use Duskwings to kill the first wave and then clear the expo. You put a bunker at the first terminal. You can wall it with barracks if you're fighting against Zerg or Protoss Zealots. If you're using Hyperion CD, you want 2 bunkers. Otherwise, they'll hit way too hard. And you'll want the bunkers to be full. You summon the Hyperion right at 5 minutes. You clear nearby areas. So all the enemies near the suppression towers and that small encampment in the center. Then teleport to the second area and clear some of the strong units like the carriers or battle cruisers or Thors. Duskwings at 8 minutes, you can use it on the suppression tower. If you have Duskwings at 6 minutes as well, then you can deal with some of the attack waves that come to the terminal with the 6-minute one. If you use Hyperion's CD, then use the Duskwings at 8 minutes. You can let Orana get hit. This gives you time to buy up, macro up. So that's really helpful for P3 Raynor, especially since you need time to get your resources to get your battle cruisers. So you can use the Duskwings, whack the tower to it's almost dead and just leave it alone. When Orana is at around 3000 HP, move the Marines out or teleport one of your battle cruisers to finish off the tower. And then your next Hyperion, which is at around 9 minutes or so, should clear the second area. For minor evacuation, consider using Duskwings. If you want to use Hyperion cooldown, then you will let the first ship die. Since the second ship doesn't trigger until like 12 minutes, you really can just let the first ship die and you can handle the rest of the game by yourself. If you let it die, your ally might complain about it, but if you know your ally and they're not going to be mad about it, just let the first ship die. If you don't, then this is what you do. So you summon the Duskwings at 5 minutes, assuming that you don't trigger it, you let the ship panic launch. So you summon Duskwings at 5 minutes, you kill some enemies, and then at around 5:45, the second Nidus has popped up and the third one is going to pop up too. So you summon it, you blast one, you Yamato one of the Niduses and you teleport to the other one. This is assuming it's the center ship. If it's not, then the mass of aberrations will also come out around this time. Towards the end of the first ship, the infested will just whack it and you can drop sacrificial marines to lure the infested away from the ship. And then drop the Duskwings at 720 to kill the attack wave. It's important to drop it at 720 because you want to drop it again at 920 to kill the Claimer wave. You should have a few BCs at this time to help. If you drop it a little earlier, the ship will have already finished anyway, so you're not going to really help. The next Hyperion, wherever it is, you clear an area. However, if you plan to force launch the next ship, then you should save it. If you just let the first ship die, then you don't have to worry about any of these. You just like use Hyperion at 5 minutes to clear the middle, and then you have a bunker at home for the attack wave. For missed opportunities, you build a bunker or orbital command at the ramp. The OC will take hits until 4 minutes. So if you don't want to make a bunker, you can let your orbital command just keep getting hit. This works well against weaker enemies like adepts, but not so good against Zerglings. If you see that it's Zerg creep, then you want to make a bunker. At 4 minutes, you drop the Duskwings, you kill the attack wave, and then you clear the rocks, and then clear some of the enemies at the first spot. Then, at around 5 minutes, you kill the escort waves. Then, at 5:30, another escort wave will come, you kill them too, and then you teleport to the far right of the third bot area. For Terran, there are some tanks. For Zerg, there are Swarmhosts. For Swarmhosts, you don't need to kill them, but you kill everything else. Against Protoss, there are 2 Void Rays, and you kill those. Then you teleport back to the second bot area and drop PDDs. They'll help stall some of the 8-minute something waves. At 8:30, you should have Duskwings. You use them, and you kill the enemies at the second bots. By this time, you have a few BCs, so you should use them as well, but don't let them die. Summon the Hyperion at 9:15 or a bit later to kill whatever escort waves are left, and the attack wave at 10. If you summon it earlier than that, then you'll run out of time before the 10-minute wave spawns. On OE, build a bunker at the ramp if your main is on the left because the 7-minute attack wave comes from the west side. If you're on the right side, you don't really need this. You drop Dusk Wings at 4 minutes to kill the attack wave and then clear the rocks. Then you Hyperion at 6 minutes, not 5. You Hyperion at 6 minutes, and at this point it should be going up the left side of the main area, and you just kill all the enemies by moving the Hyperion back and forth. And then you Yamato it or something. Then you can teleport and kill the 6-minute attack wave from the southeast. Save the Dusk Wings for the second train, and then save the Hyperion for the third train. So you don't want to use it as soon as it's off cooldown for the early game. For Part and Parcel, use Dusk Wings for the first attack wave, then clear some enemies. At 5 minutes, you will clear enemies at the expo. Whether you use Hyperion at 5 minutes or 6:30 depends on whether the enemies are strong or not. If the enemies are weak, you want to use the Hyperion and clear the expo as soon as possible, then drop PDDs wherever the second wave will go. Build a bunker or bunkers at the ramp where the second wave will go. If the enemy is strong, then use the Hyperion at 6:30 to clear the expo, then teleport to the attack wave. Then use Hyperion for the 10-minute attack wave. If you use Dusk Wings cooldown, you can use Dusk Wings at 4 minutes, then Hyperion at 5 minutes, and then at around 7:30, the enemies will arrive at your ramp, and then you drop your Dusk Wings to kill them. For Rifts to Core Hall, your build order has to change because the attack waves come so quickly. So first, you turn your CC into OC, same thing. Everything here is the same, except you don't build a third CC very quickly. You build a 15 barracks. And you can actually build barracks before depot if you're concerned about fast units. At around 2:15, you have 17 supply. You build a bunker. If you're facing against like Zerg, definitely want to wall. And then you fill in your bunker as the enemies are coming. If you're concerned about fast units, you can build barracks, then depot, and then you have a bunker before this. And then get gas. And then another gas, starport, another CC, and fusion core later on. So at 4 minutes, you clear the rocks and then the enemies in the middle. Then, once all the enemies are gone, you will use Marines to kill the shard. But remember to micro so that that ability doesn't kill your Marines. You don't want them to die. Alternatively, you can let your ally kill the shard. It's not a big deal. You don't want to make more Marines just to kill it though. At 5 minutes, you summon the Hyperion, kill the 5-minute wave, and kill enemies in the second area. Don't use it to damage the shard because it's a waste. Then you summon Dusk Wings for the 8-minute wave. For Scythe of Amon, you put a bunker at the ramp. Since you don't know which ramp, you might want to wait until the announcement before you build it. Summon Dusk Wings at 4 minutes, you can clear the attack wave, and then the enemies in the small encampments between the 5 o'clock and 6 o'clock slivers. Not the enemies at the slivers, just the enemies between, so that your SCVs can go to the natural safely. At 5 minutes, summon the Hyperion. You can clear the 6 o'clock sliver by yourself. And then when you're done, drop PDs at the side where the enemies will go. So if the first wave came from the north, the next attack wave will come from the left. So you drop PDDs at the natural. You want to put a bunker or bunkers at the other ramp since there will be hybrids. You want some extra power. If the 7-minute wave will come from the west, then you put them at the expo. And then you use Dusk Wings for the 7-minute wave. And then Hyperion for the 9-minute wave. If you're afraid that your expo will get ravaged, you should build your bunker at the other ramp and not expand until after the 7-minute wave. However, if your ally is going to expand before 7 minutes, then you have some assistance. Hopefully, they will assist you. Because if they come from the north, they will hit your base at around 8 minutes, which is when the Dusk Wings cooldown will be ready. However, if they come from the left, they're going to hit before 8 minutes. So your Dusk Wings won't be ready, which is why if they come from the left, you don't expand until after they're gone. For Temple of the Past, you want to use Dusk Wings cooldown to deal with the frequent waves from 10 minutes to 12 minutes. Put a bunker at the ramp, Dusk Wings come out at 4 minutes, you kill the attack wave, and then there's another one that will start moving at around 4:50. Since your Dusk Wings last a minute, you can kill both of them. Unless they're air units, then you just let the bunker take care of the air units. The Marines from the bunkers can go kill rocks. Don't use the Dusk Wings to break rocks. At 6 minutes, you can use the Hyperion to kill the 6-minute wave and the 6:45 wave. And then at around 7:40, you drop Dusk Wings. You kill the 7:30 wave and the Thrasher, and by this time, you should have a few BCs to help. Now, when do the Duskwing calldowns kick in? Well, at 9 minutes, if it's pattern A, where they attack from both sides, you have BCs and bunker on one side, and you use Duskwings and bunker on the other. If it's pattern B, they both attack from the same side, so you will have a bunker and Duskwings and BCs on the same side. But you still need a bunker for the other side because of the 10-minute wave. With 6 to 7 BCs at this point, you should have Hyperion and Duskwings again for the 10-minute wave. They will reach the base at around 11 minutes. It's a good idea to have your orbital at the ramp or close to the ramp to absorb some damage. For the 11-minute waves, it's the same thing as the 9-minute waves. So you have BCs and bunker on one side, Duskwings and bunker on the other side. For Vermilion problem, build a bunker at the ramp, Duskwings at 4 minutes, then you kill the attack wave and start clearing the natural. At 6 minutes, the attack wave will come. So if you haven't touched the left island, it will always spawn there. Almost always. Every time I played, it spawns there. So you just summon your Hyperion at the left island, you model the wave, and then start clearing the area or the natural. Then at 8 minutes, you will clear the enemies at both crystals. Though lava recedes at around like 7:30, so you're gonna have to actually wait a little before you're able to clear the crystal enemies, but you can clear all of them with Duskwings. For Void Launch, bunker at the ramp, the bunker will take care of the 3-minute wave. You will repair it. Then for the 5-minute wave, you use Duskwings. You will use Marines to break the rocks in the downtime, or just summon some extra Marines to like poke away at the rocks. At around 7:30, summon the Hyperion so you can kill the shuttles and the attack wave. If you plan to get the first bonus, drop PDDs at the first bonus as well. For the 10-minute wave, you should have about 4 to 5 BCs, and you can use Duskwings for the bonus wave plus the attack wave, which come at the same time. With BC assistance, you should be able to take them all out. And then at 11 minutes, your Hyperions should be ready with a few BCs. The shuttles will be reaching the destination at this point. You summon right on top of the shuttles, you model them, and then teleport to kill the attack wave. For VT, for pattern A, the first wave comes at 3 minutes. You build a bunker at the ramp, then you use Duskwings to finish off the attack wave, and then clear the enemies at the first Thrasher. You want to break rocks with Marines, so you can do this earlier before the attack wave comes. Just drop some Marines at the rocks, and then you can actually just leave them there, let them continue hitting the rocks. At 5 minutes, Hyperion comes out, you finish off the first Thrasher, then teleport to the second area and clear enemies there. Build another bunker at the ramp for the 6-minute wave. It arrives at around 6:45. Then you use the Hyperion for the 9-minute wave. Attack waves come every 3 minutes for pattern A. You clear the enemies for the 9-minute wave, then go to the second area and the Duskwings, summon Duskwings, and they will help with destroying the Thrashers in the second area and the enemies there. If it's pattern B, the first wave comes at 4 minutes. You don't really know until 3 minutes. So if there's no announcement at 3 minutes, then it's pattern B. If you're not sure whether it's pattern A or B and you're worried about defense, then just build a bunker at around like 250 and don't fill it up until you know the enemies are coming. Duskwings, since the enemies will reach your base at around like 4:20, summon Duskwings at 4 minutes, clear the rocks with them, then go kill the attack wave. Then Hyperion comes at 5 minutes, clear the Thrasher, and then enemies at the second Thrasher, just like before. You can have the Duskwings again for the 8-minute wave, which comes from the right. Because you have Duskwings for the second wave, you don't need a second bunker. Then you use Hyperion for the 10-minute wave, because the next wave will come from the left. If you summon the Hyperion too soon, then you will have nothing to defend against the 10-minute wave. And since we're here, how do you use P3 versus Void Rifts? Well, 14 orbital command, and then 400 minerals, build a command center at the choke as part of the wall, 15 racks at the other choke, part of the wall, and then 15 depot. At around 210, you get a bunker at each choke, and then you put 3 Marines in each bunker, and your plan is to survive until the Duskwings come, then you split them and kill 4 rifts. Here's a picture of the building placement, so you can build a racks here, and then use this as kind of a wall, so that they can't really surround your bunker. Remember that just because you're going P3, you don't make all BCs. That's not actually good. You won't be able to use the Hyperion that frequently anyways. So you want to leave about 20 to 30 supply for vultures. you want to be able to use all your spare minerals. You definitely need ground presence, especially in maps where you need to protect the objective, because if like those immortals have nothing to hit, they're going to wreck the objective. You can also mass starports because they're 150 minerals for 1300 HP. So they're really good as walls. When you're not P3, you use E-base because they don't cost gas. But for P3, starports don't cost gas. So you can use these as walls instead. Alright, so good luck with your upgraded BC game. See you next time.